It all started with a phone call that sliced through my afternoon like a blade. I was in the middle of making coffee, staring at the steam rising like a ghost from the cup, when my phone buzzed. I looked down. Heather, my wife's sister. Strange. We hadn't talked in months. I swiped to answer, not expecting what would come next. "You'll never be a doctor now," she cackled. "I used your medical school fund to buy my dream house. 900 grand, baby. Hope you're happy flipping burgers." My blood froze. I didn't even speak. Just stood there with the phone pressed to my ear, the ceramic mug shattering at my feet. She laughed harder, like this was a joke shared between girlfriends, not a nuclear bomb she'd just dropped on my life. "You should have kept your mouth shut when you saw me with that guy at Christmas," she added smugly. "Now I'm living oceanfront. Suck it, Nick." Click. She hung up. What Heather didn't know, what none of them knew, was that I already moved that money 3 weeks ago. Transferred it to a trust my dad set up before he died. Protected. Sealed. No one could touch it. But now I knew something deeper. Something darker. That fund was never touched by Heather, unless someone close to me gave her access. And there was only one person who knew the full routing numbers, the security questions, the passwords. My wife. Rachel. She was sitting on the patio when I walked out, sunglasses on, fake laughing into her phone. Her feet were propped up like life was perfect, like she didn't just set off a landmine. She saw my face, and for the first time in years, she looked nervous. "Nick," she asked. "What's wrong?" I didn't answer. I walked past her, straight to my office, booted up the security system, and pulled the footage from the day the account was accessed. It wasn't even encrypted. She'd done it from the home Wi-Fi, not even trying to cover her tracks. Rachel. My wife. The woman I shared a bed with. I watched as she stood in front of my laptop, typing like she'd done it 100 times. Cool. Precise. AF ****ing thief. But the theft wasn't the worst part. It was the smirk. She smirked at the camera. I sat there for maybe 10 minutes, staring at the screen. My ears were ringing. My body was numb. Then I started connecting dots I didn't want to connect. The business trips that got longer. The perfume that wasn't hers. The way she used to look at me, like I was her home. And now? Now she barely looked at me at all. I knew. She wasn't just stealing money. She was giving herself to someone else. That night, I waited for her to go to bed. She kissed me goodnight like everything was normal. Like we weren't living in a house made of lies. Then she rolled over, back to me, and fell asleep like a stone. I stayed up. All night. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I planned. By sunrise, I had everything I needed. Text records. Location pings. Even a hotel receipt under a fake name. But the phone number matched hers. She wasn't just cheating. She was cheating with someone who'd checked into a suite just 15 minutes from our house. Twice. Last week. While I was at the clinic helping a child survive chemo. Yeah, let that sink in. You think betrayal hurts? No. Betrayal rebuilds you. You burn down everything you were to become something colder. Sharper. More dangerous. So, I did the one thing no one expected. I called Heather back. "You might want to call your realtor," I said calmly. "The transfer failed. That money's gone. You're not moving anywhere." Silence. Then static. Then, "What did you do?" I grinned. "Oh, sweetheart. I didn't do anything. But maybe it's time I told the world what you did. Remember that car crash in 2019? The one with the underage guy in your passenger seat?" Dead silence. "Yeah," I continued. "Funny thing about sealed court records. You just have to know who to pay." Click. War had begun. And Rachel? She was still asleep, curled up next to me like she hadn't just detonated the last bit of love I ever had for her. Next part. The confrontation. The lies. The lover. And the night I followed her. She woke up around 9, stretching like nothing was wrong, wrapping herself in that silk robe I bought her 2 anniversaries ago. I watched from the kitchen, sipping my coffee like I hadn't just shattered the illusion of our marriage 6 hours earlier. "Morning," she said, yawning. "Did you even sleep?" I smiled. "I did. Just had a lot on my mind." She walked over, kissed my cheek like she always did. But I didn't close my eyes like I used to. I didn't lean in. I just stared. She pulled back, studying my face. "You okay?" "Actually, I'm amazing." Her eyes narrowed for a split second, but then the mask slipped back into place. She started talking about brunch plans. Something about meeting her friend Tina. I nodded, pretending to listen. Every word she spoke sounded like static, noise coming from a person I no longer recognized. When she went to shower, I checked her phone. The password was the same. Lazy. Overconfident. I opened the texts. The guy's name was J Fit in her contacts. I nearly laughed. Last night was perfect, he wrote. Her reply, you're so much more of a man than he is. I wish I could stay in that hotel bed forever. I scrolled, my thumb moving on its own, reading about all the nights I thought she was with her friends. The restaurant I took her to for our anniversary, she left early that night. Told me she felt sick. An hour later, she was sending him photos in a red dress. My gift. On a different bed. She came out of the bathroom humming, towel on her head. I sat on the couch. Calm. Still. The kind of still that scares people. Change of plans, I said. We need to talk. She froze mid-step. What? I pointed to the dining table. Sit. Her smile dropped, but she played along. Sat down like a scolded teenager, arms crossed. What is this, Nick? I put her phone on the table. Open. Right on the message thread with J Fit. She stared, then looked up at me. You went through my phone? I didn't say anything. I didn't need to. You don't get to violate my privacy. Who's Jay? She rolled her eyes. Don't be dramatic. He's just a friend. I laughed. A friend you meet in hotel rooms? Nick. Don't lie. Not anymore. She went quiet. Her fingers tapped against the table. She looked like she was calculating something. A new lie? A softer angle. But I wasn't in the mood for fiction. You gave Heather the bank info. She tried to steal my med school fund. Her face went blank. For a moment, I thought maybe she'd deny it. But then, just like that, she smiled. She deserved that house more than you deserved some fantasy degree. You're not even smart enough for med school. That hit harder than anything else. Not the betrayal. Not the cheating. It was how little she thought of me. How long she must have looked at me like I was beneath her. Why, Rachel? Why him? Why do this? She leaned back, crossed her legs. Because you're boring. Because you don't know how to make a woman feel alive. Jay does. You used to be fun. You used to be someone. Now, you're just safe. Predictable. I sat there for a second, trying to process that level of cruelty. She wasn't sorry. Not even a little. She stood up. I'm going out. We can talk later. Or not. Maybe you should just pack your stuff. I'll keep the house. You'll land on your feet. She actually said that. Like she was doing me a favor. She walked to the door, heels clicking like gunshots, grabbed her purse, and left. But I wasn't done. I pulled up the GPS tracker I installed on her car 3 nights ago. Followed her location in real time. She wasn't going to brunch. She was headed downtown, right toward the Wellington Hotel. I jumped in my truck, drove like a ghost through the city, parked across the street. Waited. An hour later, I saw them. She came out first, laughing like a teenager. Then he followed. Tall, gym bro energy, sunglasses on, tattoos down both arms. Jay. He kissed her neck right there on the sidewalk. She didn't even look around. Didn't care if anyone saw. That's when I knew this wasn't new. This wasn't a mistake. This was a whole second life. I didn't confront them. Not yet. I watched. I filmed. I took pictures. Because if she thought this was over, she had no idea who she was playing with. And tomorrow was her birthday. Perfect. The morning of her birthday, I made her favorite breakfast, avocado toast, over medium eggs, extra pepper, just like she used to ask. I even made fresh orange juice. She walked into the kitchen in one of my hoodies, bare legs, pretending like last night didn't happen. Like she hadn't just spent the evening in another man's arms. Wow, she said, acting surprised. You're being sweet. I kissed her on the forehead and smiled. It's your special day? You deserve it. She ate like nothing was wrong, humming while scrolling through her phone. Probably texting him. Probably arranging their next meetup. I handed her a small black box once she finished eating. What's this? She asked, grinning. Open it. She did. Inside was a pair of diamond earrings. Real ones. Not costume junk. She gasped. Oh my God, Nick. These are beautiful. I sat across from her. Calm. Steady. They're fake. She blinked. What? I mean, the box is real. The diamonds were real. These are glass. She stared at me, frozen. Kind of like us, I said quietly. They look perfect on the outside, but deep down they're cheap, hollow, and guaranteed to shatter. She closed the box slowly. You're being cruel. I'm being accurate. She pushed her plate away. What do you want from me, Nick? You already took everything I wanted, I said. But I've got something you don't. Leverage. Her mouth tightened. Leverage for what? I leaned forward. You remember that prenup you begged me to tear up 6 months ago? I didn't. Her eyes widened just a little. You signed it. We never officially nullified it. My lawyer found it 2 nights ago. It's still valid. And it says if there's infidelity, you get nothing. Not the house, not the car, not the account. Not even your dream trip to Bali. She stared at me, hands shaking slightly. But then she laughed. Actually laughed. You have nothing on me. I reached into my jacket and placed a stack of printed photos on the table. Her. Him. Hotel lobby. Parking garage. The back of her head in his car. And the best one, her in that red dress, kissing him against the door of the suite. She went quiet. Picked up one photo. Studied it. You're spying on me? I'm protecting myself. Something I should have done years ago. She looked up at me, venom in her eyes. You think you can humiliate me? You think this makes you powerful? No, but I think it makes you small. I got up and left the table. Grabbed the folder from the side cabinet. Laid it next to the photos. Divorce papers. You can sign now or later, but you'll sign them. My lawyer has everything ready. I'll fight this. Sure, I said, walking away. But you'll lose. Because the thing about people like you underestimate quiet men. You think we won't bite. You forget that we watch. And remember, she screamed behind me. Loud. Piercing. Slammed something, probably the glass. I didn't turn back. The house was silent 20 minutes later. She'd left. Maybe to call him. Maybe to cry. Maybe to start plotting. Didn't matter. I pulled out my laptop, opened the file I saved last night. One email. One press release. Sent to her workplace, her boss, her department head, and Jay's gym sponsor. With full documentation of the affair, the financial theft, the fraud, and the audio clip where Heather confessed she used my fund. I'd hit send tomorrow. Unless she signed. By evening, she returned. Hair messy, mascara faded. I'll sign, she said. But I want one thing. I raised an eyebrow. I want you to say it wasn't all fake. That you loved me. I looked her in the eyes, and for the first time in weeks, I told the truth. I did. God help me, I really did. She looked away. Then why are you doing this? Because you didn't. She signed. And just like that, the woman I thought I'd spend forever with became a cautionary tale. But I wasn't done yet. The world still didn't know what she did. And when Heather's dream house was revoked because of attempted fraud, it triggered a chain reaction neither of them saw coming. That was tomorrow's problem. Tonight, I poured a whiskey, sat on the porch, and finally, let myself breathe. I didn't drink often, but that night, the glass stayed in my hand long after it was empty. The air felt different. Like the silence around me wasn't empty anymore. It was clean. It didn't reek of cheap perfume, half-lies, and cover stories. She was gone. I watched her drive away without a word. Not even a glance in the rearview mirror. That used to hurt, thinking she could just detach like that. But now, it confirmed everything. Her heart wasn't broken. It never was in this. Only mine had been real. The next morning, I hit send on the email. Simple. Professional. Cold. No threats. Just facts. Screenshots. Documents. Voice memos. I didn't even write a caption. I wanted the evidence to speak louder than I ever could. By noon, Heather called. I let it ring. Then again. Then again. On the fourth try, I picked up. What the hell did you do? You mean, exposing your criminal attempt to launder stolen funds through my account. Her voice cracked. You sent it to my employer? I sent it to everyone who trusted you. Just like you trusted my wife. She didn't respond. I could hear her breathing, fast, erratic. You ruined my life, she whispered. No, Heather. You did. I just gave your lies a stage. Click. Jay was next. 2 days later, his gym posted a public statement about ending all partnerships with involved parties under investigation for personal conduct issues. His profile disappeared overnight. Rachel? She stayed silent. For a while. But chaos has a way of dragging everyone back into the spotlight. 3 weeks passed. I was starting to rebuild. I re-enrolled in my program. The fund was untouched, intact. I sold the house. Bought a quiet place out in the hills. Smaller. Simpler. Mine. That's when she showed up. Middle of the afternoon, sunlight pouring across my porch, and there she was, Rachel. Same heels, same sunglasses, but none of the old confidence. She looked drained. I didn't invite her in. I need to talk, she said. I don't owe you anything. You destroyed my life. No, I said. You traded it away for hotel sheets and protein shakes. I just returned the favor. She didn't argue. Just stood there, holding something in her hand. An envelope. I came to give you this. I didn't take it. It's a letter, she continued. Not an apology. Just the truth. I figured after everything, you at least deserve that. I took it. Opened it later that night. It was 8 pages. Handwritten. She admitted to it all. Every moment. Every excuse. Every time she lied straight to my face and told herself I was too blind, too soft, too stupid to notice. She described the affair like it was a fever, sick, reckless, and thrilling. But there was something buried deep in the pages, something I didn't expect. She said she never expected me to be strong. She thought I'd fall apart, that I'd beg, that I'd fight for her, that I'd let it go. But when I didn't, when I calmly dismantled everything she built with lies, she realized she never really knew me. And maybe, deep down, that terrified her more than anything. I folded the letter and locked it in a drawer. Not because I needed it, not because I planned to reread it, but because it was proof that I didn't imagine all this. I was the man she underestimated, and that mistake cost her everything. A few days later, I sat down at the kitchen table, alone, peaceful, and drafted a message to myself. Not a journal, not a blog, just a sentence I wanted to remember when I looked back at this wreckage. The worst thing she ever did wasn't cheating. It was believing I wouldn't find out. That sentence. It kept me grounded. It reminded me that silence isn't weakness, that nice doesn't mean blind, and that no matter how perfect a lie looks from the outside, the truth always has a way of getting in. This wasn't revenge. It was release. And in that quiet, I finally found something she never could fake. Peace. A few weeks passed. Life didn't snap back to normal. It crawled. Slow, uneven, but forward. I started waking up without checking my phone for lies. I stopped listening for keys in the door. Her perfume no longer haunted the sheets. The silence that once felt suffocating now felt earned. But peace doesn't come without shadows. One night, I ran into an old friend, Brandon, from med school prep. We used to study until sunrise, crash on each other's couches, swap dreams about matching in the same hospital someday. He spotted me at the coffee shop. "Nick," I almost pretended not to hear. But I nodded. He sat down. No hesitation. Like no time had passed. "I heard," he said. Just like that. Not dramatic. Not pitiful. Just honest. I nodded again. "Word travels. I saw the email. From your ex." I blinked. "Wait, you saw her letter?" He shook his head. "No. The screenshots. The forwarded package. Man, I don't know who sent it, but everyone in our old pre-med circle saw it. She nuked her own image." I stared at the table. "I didn't mean to shame her," I said. "I just needed to protect myself." Brandon shrugged. "You didn't shame her, Nick. She did that all by herself. You just held up the mirror." He was right, but it still felt heavy. "She said I was boring," I muttered. "That I was safe. Predictable." Brandon leaned back. "You were stable. There's a difference. Some people don't want that. They want fireworks, even if it burns the house down." I nodded slowly. He added, "You planning to stay in school?" "Yeah," I said, still chasing the dream. He smiled. "Then she didn't break you. She freed you." That stuck with me. Later that night, I opened a folder on my desktop labeled "Just in Case." It had everything. The backups, the photos, the letters, the bank records. I stared at it for a minute, then deleted it. Emptied the trash. Gone. I didn't need it anymore. The closure didn't come from revenge. It came from the fact that I no longer cared what Rachel did next. But closure has a cruel way of testing you. 2 days later, she showed up again. This time, crying. No sunglasses. No heels. Just sweatpants and swollen eyes. "I have nowhere to go," she said. I didn't open the door. Just stood on the other side. "I'm not here to ask for anything," she continued. "I just wanted to say, I know what I did. I know how much I destroyed. And I don't expect forgiveness." I stayed silent. She added, "Jay left. He said I wasn't worth the risk. My job's gone. Heather won't speak to me. I've burned every bridge." More silence. I thought if I told you that, maybe, you could hate me a little less." I finally spoke. "I don't hate you, Rachel." She breathed. "But I also don't feel anything for you anymore." "That's worse, isn't it?" She didn't respond. Just stood there. "Go home, Rachel. Whatever that means now." I walked away before she could answer. Some goodbyes don't need words. Some betrayals don't need revenge. They just need time, distance, and the strength to not let the worst version of someone else turn you into something unrecognizable. The next morning, I got up early, ran 5 miles, hit the books, ate real food. It was quiet, simple, but for the first time in a long time, it was mine. Weeks turned into months. The seasons shifted, and so did I. My new place, tucked into the hills, started feeling less like a refuge and more like home. The boxes were gone. The air didn't carry her ghost anymore, and the bed didn't feel empty. It felt clean. I got into med school. That acceptance letter came in a quiet envelope on a Tuesday afternoon. No confetti, no celebration, just me, the porch, and a view that stretched for miles. I read the letter twice, then once more, slower. It hit me harder than I expected. Not joy, not excitement, just relief. Like the weight I carried for years finally loosened. For a moment, I thought about calling someone. But who? Brandon had moved to Boston. My parents were long gone. And Rachel? She was a lesson now, not a lifeline. So I poured a drink, sat on the porch, watched the sun bleed into the hills, and whispered to myself, "You made it through the fire." I didn't want anyone to clap for me. I didn't need applause. I just needed to know that I hadn't let her betrayal define the rest of my life. But the world has a strange sense of humor. One night in early spring, I ran into Tina, Rachel's old friend, the one she used as an excuse every time she went to meet Jay. She was sitting 2 tables away from me at a small restaurant near campus. Alone. She looked shocked when I walked by. Then guilty. I paused. She waved me over. "Nick," she said. "Wow. You look good." I nodded. "You too." She shifted awkwardly. "I was going to call you, after everything happened." But I didn't know what to say. I raised an eyebrow. "Say what? That you helped her lie?" She flinched. "I didn't know. Not at first." She said she needed cover for a surprise anniversary plan. She made it sound cute. Later, I figured it out. But I didn't think it was my place. "You didn't think I deserved to know?" She looked down. "No, I guess I didn't." I should have walked away. But something about her tone felt different. She wasn't pretending. She wasn't performing. "She ruined you, Nick," Tina said quietly. "But you didn't let her keep you ruined." That stayed with me. People talk about healing like it's a straight road. It's not. It's full of switchbacks and blind curves. Some days, I still wake up angry. Some nights, I still replay her laugh, her lies, the way she said, "You're just safe." But those days don't define me anymore. Now I define them. I tell my story to people who think they're broken beyond repair. I've spoken at 3 seminars. Quiet ones. No big crowds. Just real people, trying to piece themselves back together after betrayal. I tell them the truth. You'll never get the apology you deserve. But you can still get the life you deserve. It's not about forgetting. It's about not letting pain set the tone anymore. I still have the letter Rachel wrote. It's locked away in a safe, next to the divorce papers and the prenup. I don't look at it, but I don't burn it either. It's a scar, not an open wound. A reminder of what I survived. Sometimes people ask me if I still believe in love. I tell them this. I don't believe in perfect love anymore. But I believe in honest love. That kind of love's rare, but it exists. The trick is making sure you're whole before you go looking for it. And now? Now I'm whole. Not because of her. Not in spite of her. But because I decided my story didn't end at her betrayal. It began there. A year to the day since she walked out of my life. I stood on that same porch, watching another sunset bleed across the sky. The air was cooler now. Quieter. My phone buzzed beside me, a message from the admissions office. Final orientation details for med school. I smiled. Not the forced kind I used to wear like armor. A real one. I thought about everything that had happened. The lies. The betrayal. The moments that gutted me. The silence I had to survive. I didn't come out of it the same man. But I came out better. Sharper. More aware. She thought she broke me. What she did was expose me, to myself. To my resilience. To my worth. I still remember her words sometimes, like a curse echoing in my mind. "You're just safe." Maybe I was. But safety is strength when the world keeps trying to knock you down. If I could go back and talk to the version of me who stood in that kitchen, phone in hand, mug in pieces, heartbreaking, I'd only tell him one thing. This isn't your ending. It's your origin story. Now, when people come to me with cracked voices and tired eyes, holding their own broken pieces of love, I don't give them cliches. I give them truth. Let it hurt. Let it break you. But don't let it stop you. You get to decide what happens next. Because I did. And I chose peace. I chose purpose. I chose to start over, not to look back. She'll always be a page in my story, just not the final one. That chapter is mine, and it starts now.